Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Gather and Go, the podcast that helps you plan, promote, and lead better trips. I'm your host, Brian Jewell, happy to be jumping into your podcast feed at an unexpected time today to bring you a bonus episode I think you are really going to enjoy. That's right. Today, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine named Zach Holifield, who is an expert in Mississippi tourism and specifically the destinations up and down the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Zach is a representative of coastal Mississippi, and if you've never heard of the region before, it is a part of the Gulf Coast in the United States that is gorgeous, and it presents tons of opportunity for fun things for groups of all ages to do. So I'm going to spend some time talking with Zach about coastal Mississippi. If you are looking for some new ideas for places to take your group, maybe places you haven't been, or hey, even if you have been to Biloxi or Gulfport, maybe you're looking for some of the other destinations in the Mississippi area that might be a good fit for your group tours, this is a conversation you're going to want to listen to. But more than just the conversation, I have a really special opportunity for you today. That's right. Zach and his team are giving away a trip for one group travel planner and a guest to spend 3 days and 2 nights visiting the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And if you listen to this episode, Zach is going to tell you how to register for that opportunity. This is going to be a fantastic trip. You're going to get to spend some time with Zach. And believe me, you're going to want to spend that time with Zach. You'll understand why after you hear this conversation. But this giveaway includes air transportation, 2 nights in your hotel. You'll be hosted at meals and attractions. It's an opportunity for you to have a great, let's say, long weekend on the Mississippi Gulf Coast and maybe even get inspired for how you can come back and do a similar trip with your group. So listen all the way through the conversation, find out where to go to register for that trip, and then by all means go do it because this is an opportunity you're not going to want to miss. So let's get right into it. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Zach Holifield. All right, everybody. My guest today is a lifelong Mississippi resident who has spent years promoting destinations around the state. After spending time working for the Hattiesburg Tourism Commission and later Visit Mississippi, he took his current role as the Senior Director of Sales and Business Development for Coastal Mississippi Tourism. He works with travel agencies, tour operators, motor coach companies, and other group travel planners to help them discover the opportunities waiting in cities and towns along Mississippi's beautiful Gulf Coast. Zach Holifield, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Brian, it's good to be here.
I'm so glad to have you here. I want to give listeners a little window into the very first time you and I met because I knew within just a few minutes that we were going to get along just fine. I showed up in your area and you took me to this little restaurant in the middle of nowhere and taught me how to eat crawfish. It was a tasty, messy, multiple napkin affair. And I said, this is a guy I got to have in my address book. That was so much fun.
Yeah, it was great. Toronto's, for those listening and watching, it's one of the best local restaurants in town. So, and you got to share that fun experience. And I think we bonded with some locals that evening, probably too. So a lot of neighborhood folks there.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was great. I learned how to crack them open. I learned how to suck the heads out. I mean, it was the perfect local experience. And man, I got to come back and do that again sometime. That was fantastic. So anyway, coastal Mississippi is an area that a lot of people may have heard about, but may not really realize the variety of cities and towns and hamlets and villages and seasides and beaches. So give us that broad picture of what exactly we're talking about when we talk about coastal Mississippi.
Yeah, so coastal Mississippi as a region is, if you think of Mississippi and you think of Mississippi kind of having that foot piece, there are 3 counties at the very bottom of Mississippi, Harrison, Jackson, and Hancock. And in those 3 counties, we have 12 cities / communities, municipalities rather. And we feel and encourage our visitors to see everything going on in those communities. Some of them are going to have bright lights and gaming and lots of high energy action, like in Biloxi or Gulfport. Or you're going to find the smaller Main Street style, cute, quaint oceanside towns like Bay St. Louis and Ocean Springs and Pascagoula that our visitors can come in and just be part of the local community. So 3 counties, 12 cities, a lot of attractions, a lot of fun things to see, to do. The Gulf Coast, is our source of a lot of our food and cuisine that we have here in coastal Mississippi. Obviously, the I guess the technical term would be the blue economy that we have here on the Gulf Coast is also very vital to who we are, and also supplies and interacts with our visitors quite a bit. So we have a lot of those amenities to offer, especially around water, beach activity. But then we have a lot of things, such as great museums and a lot of little local art places. And you can kind of come here and we like to say that you can have a really busy vacation. You can fill your day with a lot of exciting activity and different museums and seeing as much as you can. Or you can get a book and sit on that beach and kind of just listen to the waves a little bit, or take in a massage at one of our really great quality resort spas that we have here. And you can have the relaxing vacation that you've been looking for. So we love to say that you can be as busy as you want here in coastal, or you can relax as much as you'd like to. So we have a lot of different things for people to kind of take in, and we're a great destination for families because we offer a little something for everybody. So mom can do a little shopping, visit some boutiques. We have a lot of things for kids to do, a lot of activities for them to stay busy with go-karts and goofy golf and just a lot of the little fun activities that they have to offer. And then you can send dad on a fishing trip, or you can take in, a game of golf even. So the activities and experiences here, we have a little something for everyone, and you've got plenty to keep you busy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I know you're not allowed to play favorites among all your municipalities. Last time I was there, I was absolutely charmed by some of the smaller towns, Bay St. Louis, Ocean Springs. In my mind, these are the quintessential little beach or coastal towns or villages that somehow don't feel like touristy. You feel like you're really just walking through this coastal community, and there's these great seafood shacks on the beach, and it's scenic, it's beautiful. Obviously, there are visitors there, but it doesn't feel like a Disneyland that has been built for tourists. So I so appreciated that. But then, as you mentioned, on the other end, there are some really great attractions. I think of an aquarium that is world class. I think of expeditions into the Gulf, certainly your casinos, things like that. So what are some of those things that when you're working with a tour operator, you tell them, hey, when you are in our area, you've got to make sure you make time for this because you'll regret it if you don't?
Right. So you're absolutely right. It's hard to play favorites, but it's also not a bad problem to have, Brian, because the ability to have so much is one of the best things about this environment here. The destination is the fact that you can do so many different things. Those little boutique, small towns, and I think one of the most interesting things about our destination is everybody really blends. Our residents blend with our visitors, and a lot of times we never really know who is a visitor or who is a resident. And we actually did a study. I think it's been about 3 years now, 4 years. And we did a local resident study where our residents were overwhelmingly supportive of all tourism activity.
Wow.
And I think one of the best statistics that came out of that study was that our local residents said all the positives of having tourism activity outweigh any negative associated with it, whether it's parking or busy streets and whatnot. But our residents love having our visitors here, which gives us the ability to We can market and advertise all we'd like. But when our residents are involved and they participate in this experience, it really kind of seals the deal for us. And I love for our tour operators to come in and really just kind of do some hopscotching around. So, don't try to focus on one area too much. Drop in, grab something to eat for breakfast in Bay St. Louis. Take in a little bit of the scenic view of the Gulf of Mexico there, and then make your way over to Pass Christian and Long Beach, and kind of walk down those avenues and main streets, and kind of get a feel for the locals coming in and out of the banks and the post office, doing their everyday business, and also eating along right beside you in those great restaurants like Toronto's. So, it's something that I would say that what you have to do here is experience as much as you can. Get out, explore. Even if you don't go in every store or try every attraction, just getting out and seeing it and being in the environment is very relaxing and kind of takes you a step back. We live in the South, and the South is known for its laid back culture. And I think coastal Mississippi embraces laid back culture and wants our visitors to embrace that as well. So I say, come in, choose a spot at a great restaurant, sit down at the bar, and just start talking to folks and really kind of get the idea and story, because sometimes our locals can give even wonderful suggestions about things that they enjoy doing that translates well for our tour operators. So I say, make the most out of your trip here and try to see as much as possible.
Yeah. So on that idea of, sitting down and enjoying the local cuisine, of course, there's fresh seafood everywhere. Also, some really kind of interesting and unique dining options. I wonder if you have some recommendations of some places where people can go that they get a taste of that local flavor. It's great, fresh food, and it doesn't feel like it could be in any other coastal town. What are those absolutely must visits on the Mississippi coast?
Yeah. So, food, Brian, that's such a good topic. It's something that we could talk about all day. So if I had to pick a few of my favorite spots that are very group friendly, that provide wonderful, unique experiences, one of the first places that I would consider would be the Blind Tiger in Bay St. Louis. Right there on the water, almost put together piece by piece. You can tell that they really put love into this building and really tried to make it a great experience for visitors, where you can go to one floor and hear one band with one different type of music and eat a lot of great seafood. One of the things that we're known for here in our destination are Royal Reds, which are a little bit larger, a larger shrimp species, and very buttery in their flavoring. So it's almost, a lot of people coined them the mini lobsters. So if you can imagine just having kind of a boat of those little mini lobsters in front of you, and then seeing that beautiful sunset, listening to some great music, that is something that you can't really find anywhere else in the world. That is a very unique experience to someone visiting our destination. Another one of those would be Toronto's, obviously, that we've talked about. And Toronto's is one of those places that we kind of blend a little bit with our Cajun neighbors from Louisiana. And so, there's a lot of great Southern Cajun cuisine kind of mixed in here with our cultures. We all blend and we get along well with our neighbors. So you have, different styles of that Cajun influence in some restaurants. Another really great restaurant that I love is a place in Ocean Springs, one of our smaller communities, and it is a Greek restaurant called Phoenicia. Also group friendly, wonderful family that owns it and runs it, and they really come out and make sure that you're enjoying yourself and that everything that you have is good and everything tastes great. And so you get a little bit of that food experience as well, if you're not looking for seafood or if you're not a seafood fan. We do have that. A lot of our resorts have really great restaurants for fine dining, white tablecloth with the steaks, and really, really nice options for wine, beers, that type of cuisine. So we really, really say that we kind of have a lot of different options for dining, and you can kind of find what you want here. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a hidden gem for us, something that we locals really like to visit, and it's not beautiful. It's not a place that you're going to go and say, that's my first pick for the evening. Kind of a cinder block building, small, one door in the front, one door in the back, and cash only. It's called the Project Lounge. And the Project Lounge, I believe it was USA Today voted them one of the best bars in the United States. But they have a burger, Brian, that I would put up against, I think, any other burger place in the U.S.
Wow.
So small enough that it's not too big of a spot, but also big enough to hold a group. And I'm telling you, it's not necessarily one of those places that you're going to drive by and say, that's it. But once you have that experience of that great hamburger, you're going to say, yeah, that you can't find anything like this anywhere else. So we have a lot of those great little local food spots too, kind of tucked away in neighborhoods, hidden away, that really make the experience in your dining one of the best.
Yeah, there's so much I love about that. Number one, encouraging groups to get out into those neighborhoods, because so often in tourism, we skim over the surface, we hit the highlights, we go to the places everybody else went, or the places that rank high on TripAdvisor, and we miss those local gems. Another thing that we're hearing a lot of is tour operators saying, the restaurants I always used to go to with my groups, they're just so crowded or they're understaffed. It's hard to get a reservation. So there's actually some opportunities to solve some problems by digging in and finding those neighborhood spots. So how is that situation in your area right now? And how would you help somebody find a restaurant if maybe the tried and true place they're just having trouble getting into?
Right. So one of the things that we are very blessed to have in coastal Mississippi is a lot of our restaurants are already prepared for groups. They are a lot of places that we have are built for hosting and having large groups of people. And so we're actually very fortunate that most of our restaurants could accommodate a group to 30 to 50 people, say. And I think that they would have the opportunity to visit just about everything that we have here in coastal Mississippi. And you're right, we're still recovering like everyone else with staffing and making sure that restaurants are able to accommodate. Whether they can sit at the restaurant is not necessarily the problem. The space is not the problem. A lot of times it's, do we have enough staff to serve the group, right? To get the group here. Because we don't want our group to feel like they have to be in a restaurant for 3 hours of their trip.
Right.
We want them to enjoy a great meal, but then we also want them out and exploring the community that they came to see. So I think another thing too, and we kind of touched on this a few minutes ago, Brian, is these smaller coastal communities, they give us an advantage that some places don't. One of those advantages is when you're traveling with a group, you're doing mostly group activity during that trip. It's expected. But what I do enjoy is we set time in our itineraries where the driver and the tour guide can pull in, they can unload their group, and if their group would like to choose any dining option, they can get out, choose different restaurants, and then come back to the bus in a couple of hours, right? So they kind of have the ability to unload and have their own experience in a destination and kind of time to themselves. And I know a lot of our senior travelers, they travel as couples and, they're maybe retirees. And that kind of gives them a little bit of a date, whenever they're here on a trip. Even though they're doing it in a group experience, they can kind of take that lunch or maybe even that dinner time and kind of go have some date time and enjoy, having an experience that's just special for them. So a lot of our communities afford the ability for the coach to come in, let everyone off, come back in 2 to 3 hours to this spot, and we'll all go back to, the lodging for the evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing, in addition to that free time, which has become such a critical part of a good itinerary, Another thing that a lot of operators, and particularly younger operators, are telling me that is super important is having some kind of really authentic cultural experience during the trip. So museums are great. They can be a great starting point to learn about a community, learn about an organization, learn about history, but people want to go that next level deeper. They want to meet with the locals. They want to have, and it has to be authentic. It can't be contrived. So what are they going to find along those lines that makes them come home and say, I really understand coastal Mississippi because I got to know the people in this unique way?
Yeah. Brian, one of my favorite experiences that we have here in coastal Mississippi, and it's one of those experiences that you can do this by yourself if you'd like. You can purchase a ticket for yourself. You can come with just your family. However, the boat seats up to 50 people, so they can take a group up to 50. But there is a experience here called the Biloxi Shrimping Trip.
Mm-hmm.
And the Biloxi Shrimping Trip has been taking very relaxed, easy, boat trips out into the Mississippi Sound. In the summer, they do this 3 times a day. And in the winter months, they do it once a day. And so it's about an hour and a half cruise. And there's a gentleman, his name is Captain Mike Moore. He and his wife, Brandy, own the Biloxi Shrimping Experience, and they've crafted it very well. So the really fun thing about it is your visitors, your group gets dropped off at the harbor. And the first thing that you get to do is you get to meet Captain Mike and his whole entire boat staff.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of them has the best, fun, jovial personality I think that you'll ever find in locals across coastal Mississippi. These guys are out there working very hard to not only earn their living, but they're making sure that the guest leaves very happy.
Mm.
And so they get to talk about family. They get to share experiences, and they want to know where our guests are from. And if they've been, they can relate and share those experiences. If our guest is from somewhere they've never been, they want to know from the guest. Tell me what it's like. Tell me what I should do if I come visit there. So they get a full interaction with our locals that way. And it's authentic, right? Like it's true personality that they're getting from those experiences. I mean, these guys are not actors. They, may be wearing their flip-flops, or they may be barefoot as they're loading you onto that boat. So you never know what kind of experience you're going to have, each time. But what they do is they take you out into the Mississippi Sound where the water's very calm. You're not very far from the shore at 100, 200 feet, maybe 300 feet. And the water's not deep at all. So if something happened with somebody, it's, the water's about 6-7 feet deep. You're talking very shallow. So most people enjoy this experience because we're not taking you on choppy water, right?
Yeah.
So they put down these shrimp nets, these smaller scale shrimp nets, and they basically drag the bottom or any kind of sea life in the Mississippi Sound, and they bring the nets up. They pipe in through a sound system, but the boat is built so that your visitors can really see everything that they're bringing in from these nets. And they get to learn about the type of wildlife and the type of sea life that we have here in coastal Mississippi. And they're really concerned about conservation, obviously, because the Gulf means so much to us. And so they throw everything back, that they catch. So, this wildlife is studied, it's looked at, our visitors get to learn about it. And then we put them all back in their home where they belong. So the Biloxi Shrimping Experience is truly a one-of-a-kind, unique experience that you're never going to find anywhere else in the world. And recently, they decided to add and enhance an attraction there. So what they have done is they have created the oyster farming experience, and they are offering that currently as a free addition to the shrimping trip.
Wow.
So if you show up about 30 minutes prior to departure, you will get to learn about the oyster industry and why that industry is so important to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And so you get to see kind of a little baby oyster nursery, and you get to learn about how that works and the gestation period. And it's really scientific, so you're learning a lot. It's educational, and it kind of gives guests something to do while they're preparing the boat to go out, right? You're not just standing there waiting on everyone to pack up and leave. You're actually getting to do something and interact while you're waiting for that experience. So stellar attraction that we have, and we're very fortunate to have it here.
Yeah. One of the things that strikes me about that, and I've been on the boat, been out with Captain Mike, and he's so much fun. And my thought then and now is that this would be perfect for students, because student groups would enjoy Mike. They would learn so much. There's a thrill of being out on the water, getting to see sea life right in front of them that maybe they've never seen before, outside of a restaurant, perhaps. Student groups are a growing part of the group tour market. I know they're on your radar. What are some of those other things that you're finding students are really, really enjoying when they visit your area?
Yeah. So another great question. When I do trade shows, Brian, and I get to interact with some people that may not be very familiar with our destination, most of them will tell me, "Oh yeah, I think you have a casino."
Yeah,
we have more than one. It's closer to 12.
Right.
So but at least you knew that we did some gaming here. So we have a lot of different experiences for the senior and adults that come to our destination. But what I do enjoy is the fact that I think that we have an equal amount, if not more, activity for students to enjoy. And anyone that doesn't need to worry about going to a resort can easily come here and have the best time. So they can take in the shrimping trip that we just talked about. They can visit our new Mississippi Aquarium and discover a lot of the sea life that is found in the Gulf of Mexico here. It also has a really experience on the outside where they have built almost a river type atmosphere. And that is to kind of nod to our Mississippi River and freshwater life that we have in Mississippi. So you get kind of a different experience between the freshwater and the saltwater. And that's a stellar learning environment, especially for the wildlife that we have here, and also the different marine life that we have. They can take in a lot of our art museums. Coastal Mississippi has produced a lot of great artists throughout its time frame. Walter Anderson, the whole Anderson family, Peter Anderson, and they have generated tons of exciting energy around the art community. And so we have a lot of great art here in museums that are dedicated to art. So students can take in the different types of art and art mediums that we have here. We can put them in pottery classes where they can learn how to throw the clay, and an activity that I enjoy, but I'm not very good at, Brian. So, I have to polish my skills with the pottery wheel, but they can do that. I think another stellar attraction that our students would love is over in Hancock County, which is kind of on that border between Louisiana and Mississippi, just over the state line in Mississippi, is the Infinity Science Center. And the Infinity Science Center is a NASA-affiliated facility, and it is a wonderful experience for students to come through and learn about space travel. And a lot of folks say, well, why? Why does NASA have, a visitor center about space here in Mississippi? Well, it's because the Stennis Space Center is located in Hancock County, just north of that facility, and they test the rockets that go into outer space here.
Wow.
So we like to very proudly say that, in order for you to get to space, you have to go through coastal Mississippi. So the students can take part in learning about the different types of rockets and also a lot of the space artifacts associated. They are allowed to get in some simulators and do all the fun things that are interactive that our students really love to do. And something really cool, Brian, is you never really know when he might be there, but he pops in frequently. But astronaut Fred Hayes,
wow,
is a big benefactor to the Infinity Science Center, and he spends a lot of time there encouraging, the space experience. And so it's fun to kind of stroll through and, you see these kids learning, and you turn around and right there in the coffee shop is astronaut Fred Hayes. And, most of the students don't remember, that, but, those of us who are a little bit older do know how special and important that gentleman is. So, you never know when you might just see a real astronaut walking around in coastal Mississippi.
That is so cool. Now, I can't let you go without asking you about Mardi Gras, because it's a big deal. It's a lot of fun. I've been there for Mardi Gras. I actually got to be on a float for Mardi Gras once, one of the biggest thrills of my life. So for people that don't think of coastal Mississippi when they think of Mardi Gras, what are they missing? What should they plan to do if their trips to your area coincide with that time of year?
Yeah. So we also celebrate Mardi Gras just as much, I think, as our neighbors over in Louisiana, New Orleans. And I'll do a shout out to my neighbors over in Mobile, where Mardi Gras was actually started.
Mm-hmm.
But we all play well in the sandbox here, no pun intended. And so I don't want to take the lead that we created Mardi Gras, but we share in the Mardi Gras experience. And so I think one of the best things about participating in Mardi Gras here in coastal Mississippi is you have a little bit more room to roam. You have a little bit more space to take part in the parades. If we have a group that comes in and with proper planning, we can probably get them onto a float or participating in a float experience. So it's one of those things that it's very important to our community. We have a lot of families here that have been Mardi Gras legends and kings and queens and dukes, and I can go on and on about the history of it, but it's a really magical experience, and it's a nice time to be here because it's during that January to February timeframe. And so that's usually kind of a slower time frame for us here in coastal Mississippi as far as a lot of our other activities go. So the room rates are a little bit easier to afford. A lot of our restaurants are running specials. So you get to kind of take in the Mardi Gras experience, but then also get to do other activities as well. So yeah, it's a fun time. And, January is kind of a boring month for a lot of folks. And so, we like to keep that party going even after New Year.
Absolutely. And hey, if you're from, let's say, north of maybe Tennessee, a trip to the coast in January can be a wonderful break from the cold. And
Yeah.
it's just a great party and great look at, that authentic local culture. So I love that. Now, I know you have been putting together something special for our listeners, Zach, and we've been teasing it since the top of the episode. You have an opportunity for a travel planner to visit Mississippi for themselves, and you're picking up the tab. So tell us about that trip and tell us how we can register.
Yeah, absolutely. So we at Coastal Mississippi would love to offer a tour operator, tour planner, a really great prize of visiting our destination. And we are going to be putting together a lovely 2-night stay for the operator and another adult of their choosing. So, whether it's, someone in their, spouse, or maybe it's someone with their brother, sister, maybe their mom needs to kind of get away for the weekend with them. We'll work with them on the time frame, but we're going to do a prize giveaway. And if our listeners, viewers would just go to coastalmississippi.com/GTL. So Group Travel Leader initials, GTL. They can find a form there, and we just need them to fill out that form. We're actually going to have it active until the end of September. I believe September 30th is the last day for registration. And if they just put their information there in that form, we'll collect everything and we'll choose a winner. They'll get some great customized itinerary options where they'll get to have some great dining options. They'll get to do a lot of different attractions and experiences. And we'll make sure that they have a very comfortable place to stay while they're here. And we will even be doing a $500 per airfare ticket reimbursement to the winner. So I'm really gonna going to go out on that limb there and really, really host you. And so when I say host you, I mean, I'm going to hopefully pay for you to come and see me.
Yeah.
And so if they go to that coastalmississippi.com/GTL address, they'll be able to register for this sweepstakes. And we'll be choosing a winner sometime around October 1st.
What a great opportunity. And I assume if they ask nicely, you might even teach them how to crack open a crawfish, right?
You know, Brian, I mean, I'll have to get out my instruction booklet, but yeah, I think we can, I think I can spare some time to share some crawfish with a new friend.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Well,
yeah.
Everybody, again, that's coastalmississippi.com/GTL as in group travel leader. We're going to make sure you don't miss that opportunity. And it closes September 30th. So why don't you press pause now, go over to that website, register, then come back, because we have a few more just for fun questions for Zach. Before that, though, anything else you want our listeners to know about where they can learn about the destination, where they can follow you, keep up with what's going on the Gulf Coast?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you just go to that coastalmississippi.com website, you'll find everything that you need to know about our destination. So it has a wonderful list of different types of itineraries. We have a group section. So you, as a tour operator, you can click on that to find things that you need. We have a lot of different themed itineraries. So if you want to create something, a unique experience, we kind of have some suggested things for you. But our team here will be happy to customize anything any of our operators need, and make sure that you're in the right contacts with the right restaurants and lodging. So if you go through us and contact us, we will handle all of those things for you absolutely free, and try to make it as stress-free for our operators as possible. To keep up with me, I'm on the Facebook, as most of our colleagues are. So love for my tour operator friends to add me on Facebook to keep up with our travels and what we're doing. You can also find me on LinkedIn under Zachary Holifield, Coastal Mississippi. And you can kind of keep up with my trade show experiences there as well.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. Well, Zach, we don't let anybody out of here without answering our just for fun questions. So no pressure here. You can just answer off the top of your head. When you travel, are you going to book a window seat or an aisle seat?
You know, I'm an aisle seat, Brian. That's always been my preference.
Just got to be able to move around when you need to, right?
That's right. I like to be able to hop up and go up and down and even visit people if I would like. So
yeah, makes sense. All right. So what is something in your carry-on that you wouldn't travel without?
Great question. Actually, it's kind of a unique item, and it's something that that a lot of people may not really think about the multiple uses of it, but it is almost like the soft, kind of like that tape that you get from a doctor's office, like that soft white tape. I know that there's a very medical term for that.
Yeah.
But you would be surprised, Brian, at how many uses that just that little bit of medical tape can provide for you while you're traveling. I have used it to repair clothes for speaking engagements. I've used it as a blister treatment from new shoes. I've that medical tape has come in handy more times than you'll ever know. And I think it never leaves my bag.
Yeah.
So
I've asked that question to 50 people, and you are the first person to say medical tape. I love it. One of these days, next time I see you, you're going to have to tell me the story of the time you taped up your clothes before going on stage.
Sometimes you have wardrobe malfunctions and a button goes missing and you need to get out there in 20 minutes. So it helps in a bind.
I love it. All right. So if you had a free airline pass and a week with nothing else to do, where would you head next?
My favorite place to visit is always the place that I haven't been. Right.
Yeah.
So, when folks ask me, what's your favorite destination you've traveled to? It's always going to be somewhere that I haven't been yet. Because our world is so big and, our environment that we live in day to day is so small. That just going anywhere, even if it's 2 hours away by car to a small town, is a great travel experience. I haven't spent a lot of time, Brian, in the Montana region, Idaho, that area, and I would really love to kind of experience that part of the United States. I just haven't really done that experience yet. So I look forward to planning a great trip out west and kind of north and and getting to see some wonderful destinations out there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So you definitely have to make that happen. Okay, last question. What is something you have seen or done on the road that you wish you could go back and experience again with somebody you love?
So I think probably one of the best experiences that I had was when working for Visit Mississippi. I was able to travel a lot internationally and was afforded, that opportunity to see a lot of different destinations. On a trip to New Zealand, I had a cave diving type experience. And actually, it sounds a little bit more intense than it really was. But you do kind of learn the cave diving process, and they take you down a little bit, maybe about 100 feet into these really large cavernous areas. And we were told to splash the water a good bit and kind of play with the water and make a lot of noise, essentially, is what we were instructed to do. It was very kind of dark environment, a few headlamps on, and we were making so much noise and yelling, and honestly not really sure why we were doing all this commotion in the dark for no reason. And then the tour guide said, I want you to close your eyes for about 30 seconds. And he said, just stand still and close your eyes for about 30 seconds. And I'm going to tell you when you need to open your eyes. So we all counted down very slowly to that 30-second mark. And he said, I want you to raise your head and open your eyes. And when we raised our heads, we saw the roof of the cavern, but there were glowworms. Oh, and wow. It looked like stars.
Wow.
And so it was probably one of the most magical travel experiences that I've ever had, where I say, this is why we travel. Mm-hmm. These moments are why we travel. So the Waitomo Caves of New Zealand. So if you look that up, Waitomo Caves of New Zealand, you'll see the images of the glowworm experience.
Yeah. Well, shoot, Zach, I got to add something to my wish list now. Every time I do this, I come up with more places I want to go. But hey, thanks so much for your time. It's been great having you. And everybody go sign up for that trip giveaway. You're not going to regret it.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to see you, Brian. And we look forward to welcoming everyone to coastal Mississippi. So let us know whenever you're down. We're happy to see you.
Yep. Thanks, Zach.
Absolutely.
Well, I sure hope you enjoyed that conversation with Zach. I hope it gave you some ideas and some inspiration about some things that you could do with your groups if you take them to Mississippi's Gulf Coast. Now, let me encourage you one more time. Don't miss out on this opportunity to win this fully hosted trip for you and a guest to visit Zach on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Go to coastalmississippi.com/GTL, as in Group Travel Leader. You can register there. While you're there, take some time to poke around the website, learn some more about coastal Mississippi, what you might enjoy doing if you win that trip, and what your group travelers might enjoy doing down there as well. This is a great opportunity. We don't want anybody to miss it. It is open until the end of September, and then after that, well, the opportunity is gone. So don't delay. Go sign up right now at coastalmississippi.com/GTL. Well, that's going to do it for this special bonus episode of Gather and Go. On the next episode, we will be back as promised with an interview with Kyle Campbell of Sudden Journeys, who's going to talk to us about how she works really hard to craft truly multi-generational trips for her customers. That's an exciting conversation. You won't want to miss it. Until then, though, remember this. At the end of the day, we're all on this trip together, so let's make it a good one. See you next time on Gather and Go. Gather and Go is hosted and executive produced by me, Brian Jewell. Our publisher is Mac Lacey. Danya Simmons is our creative director. Ashley Ricks is our circulation manager and graphic designer. Our sales team is Kyle Anderson and Talisa Reck. To advertise on the podcast, call Talisa at 859-253-0455. Gather and Go is a production of the Group Travel Leader. For more information about our magazines, podcasts, and events, visit us online at grouptravelleader.com.